That's worked. It's always like it always leaves you in suspense, doesn't it? See if it's going to work.
Welcome back to Hunted Commentary Part 4. It's the final one.
It's
And
the
I can
final
leave.
countdown. Just the silence. Just the silence.
I was waiting for you to laugh at my joke.
Oh no! I mean, it was funny. It was funny.
Yeah, good save.
I know. I'm looking forward to leaving.
Hunted.
As well.
I love how you put me, and I had
So
I
part
had nothing
4,
to do with this one.
Oh, this is the thing. Part 4, Henry had like. I think you wrote.
I think I did like 3 pages or something.
You did
and that
3
was about it.
pages, and I deleted 2.5. Is what I remember, or maybe 2. There's about a page in here, and I'll mention it when we
The
get
spy
to
sound effect.
it. Yeah. Yep. That's
So
it.
much of our behaviour was influenced by Team Fortress 2.
It actually was though. Like.
You had the spy scream in the first one, and then you had a TF2 music in the Scorpius.
Yeah. But no, yeah. So part 4 is like, yeah, mostly just me writing this, and
It was like I had the head of a baby sticking out my vagina, and I gave up. And then Josh did the rest of it.
That's such a funny ending. That's such a good. I mean, pretty much you were at the final bit, and
Well, actually, you said you deleted 2, so it's like you shoved the baby back in and then pulled the rest of it out again.
What are we even talking about? This commentary would be rated like already in less than 2 minutes would be rated like 18 if it had to be like, you know, graded by
On the kids channel, yay!
the BBFC or whoever it is. Oh, so we'll talk a bit more about the writing in a minute. I just thought I'd mention this. You know this bunker they're in here? Even when we released, so not even when we filmed and edited part 3, when we released part 3, this bunker did not exist in the story. That's the craziest part. And do you know why it's been added? Do you remember why it was added?
Because Rich needed to die?
No, well, kind of. That might have been why, but it was more that
Because the cacklers were herding, so they weren't going to kill. And we needed him to die for an emotional moment. Is how my memory goes, but maybe that's different.
That makes it sound like I was thinking of the story. Truthfully, the reason this bunker exists, right, is because the sound effects that I used for the end of part 3, I suddenly realised they weren't just like like shock sounds. They weren't just like sudden like, you know, like brrr. They had a little metal clang to them.
And you wanted those to...
No, and I don't even think it was what I wanted. I think I suddenly just thought, oh my god, that sounds like they've fallen into something metal.
If anything, this adds more world building.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I do like the addition of this. It's just that's where it came from. If you listen to the sounds in part 3, there is that little metal clang, and that's literally what it was when it came to doing part 4. I was like, let's just add a little bunker under there. It was supposed to be when Ethan gets pulled down that he got pulled down by a cackler.
Yeah,
that's what that was supposed to be. And it's just mental that the whole goes to show. And this is what I mean when we kind of say we weren't writing Hunted properly, which we kind of weren't. In a way,
not to the extent that you're writing Order of the Zorfari and Hide in the House. This is kind of like.
I still look back on this, and even though we had a rough plan, it's little things like that I'm so glad that we just. It was quite fun, wasn't it? Just sort of making it up as we went along. It was.
This is what I picture. Like, is our Iron Man 1. The fact that they had a rough idea of what they were doing, most of it was just made up on the day.
Yeah, that's true. They were like writing it as they were filming it, weren't they?
And this is practically how this went.
I mean, almost, yeah.
It's like one step away from that.
Most of them were destroyed in the war, though.
Not all of them.
And it's just like one random cave. It's not even the cave that they started in. It's just one random cave.
But we did, you know, it's not like you had no involvement with part 4, because you still did. We still talked about what we were going to be doing in the final part, both in advance.
Oh yeah, no,
and
yeah.
when
It's not like I turned up blind to the set. Well, not like that, but
I understand what you're saying. But
yeah,
it's a lot of the ideas you see later on in this episode are still yours. I think there was a line of dialogue, or maybe a few lines of dialogue that you did add here and there. and there is a scene as well. I'll mention it when we get to it, which you wrote. Well, because you wrote like you said, you wrote about 3 pages, and I think that scene was the only scene that survived.
I get that credit. The first time my mic actually worked well.
Yeah, it does sound quite clear, to be fair.
I think this is when I like put a blanket over like my mic and the monitor and me to like cover all background noise.
Really?
Using a map on this
Yeah.
We're about 5 miles from the city. Shouldn't be too long of a walk.
So we're just leaving Harrison and Captain Avery?
No.
I like that little fly sound effect there. That was only because you can still that was from the ambience of the, because you can hear like the tweet, like the, well, not the tweeting, the crickets right now.
Yeah.
I think that fly sound effect was just from that, but it makes it feel like the fly is, you know, obviously with them. I don't know.
Well, this place is supposed to be filthy and
little things, isn't it? That sort of.
Yeah.
Well, the lights are all still on. They should have
where the hell did they get the rose?
And where did they get a little thing to put it in? That's, you know, that was in the script that was just a flower, but the closest thing I could get to that without, I guess I could.
Why didn't you just put a Minecraft plant pot?
It's a good point, isn't it? It's a good point.
Make the most out of the mod that you've got.
Oh yeah, because then that would have been like a dead flower. Maybe that would have. It's supposed to be, I suppose, like a preserved flower in that glass, isn't it?
Right.
I guess that's the.
This was a really cool city map that you found.
The only thing I've added here is obviously this bit, the little.
Yeah, it's a shame it actually got wasted on like with the texture pack, because it actually looked pretty good without it.
I thought you were gonna say. I think it's a shame it got wasted on Hunted, to be honest. I thought that's what you were gonna say. But like Hunted, part 4 is a bit of a mess.
It's a happy mess.
A lot of it is my fault. Like there were bits that we planned and ideas that both of us had that I just didn't really execute fully. It's just fun. It's quite fun though. I think part 4, the whole like, it almost turns into like a heist at one point, doesn't it?
Yeah,
which is quite funny.
It does a complete 180 on the whole like horror thriller vibe I intended. It just becomes like a funny action slog.
And a lot more sci-fi, this was the whole Utisian thing that we see here, the labs underground. I like the idea. It does perhaps stray a little bit far away from the original plan, but
I think my original plan was like the Doctor was going to save them on a hill or something at like the last second.
Yeah, I remember
Harrison was going to blow them up or something.
I remember you.
Sacrificing himself. There was no nuke involved. There was no science. They were literally just monsters. But in a way, I quite like the fact that they were trying to build a nuke. Yeah. I actually think I prefer it that way. It makes them more interesting.
Not the Cacklers, at least.
Well, no, the original. Yeah. Their original.
No, by the way, this is the bit that you wrote. This is the surviving bit of your original 3 pages.
That still works well.
Oh yeah, I filmed a little thing for this scene. There was the bats.
So that's what they
the bats in this texture pack looked like little drones, little flying drones.
Right.
Like technological sort of things. And I tried doing a bit where there was a drone like following them. And I ended up just deleting it. I shot it and everything. I just deleted it. It would have been cool, but it just... The whole point is that they're supposed to show up unannounced to the base at the end. It was just purely a little thing for like style, and yet it added nothing. It didn't make any sense as to why they were being stalked. And that TARDIS there, that is not where it landed in part 1 because I lost the world. It is where it landed.
I just kind of assumed he moved it.
No. It is. Sorry, it is meant to be the same spot, but what it is it's I lost the world. So I looked at it in the video and I tried
tried to recreate it.
I tried recreating where the trees were. So
nice.
And then I shot it from below, just so you can't see that there's nothing around it.
It's better on the inside.
It's better on the inside. I quite like that.
Close enough. What? Nothing. Follow me.
Don't like that so much.
Yeah.
They should have just immediately moved on.
I think is this where we go to the armory?
In a minute, yeah, it is.
This is like your little lab section,
Yeah.
which I quite like. They've never really shown a lab in the TARDIS.
No,
At least not to my memory.
This is.
Oh, is this not the lab? Oh, this is the I thought this was the TARDIS.
Oh, this is great.
Ah, that makes a bit more sense. Yeah, the whole Cackler belt thing was your idea. Because
Yeah.
originally it was just like evolution that had taken effect, and that's
And maybe that
an
is
ability
better.
they gained.
Maybe that is better, but there was that part of me thinking, nah, there's got to be like a scientific explanation. So at first I wrote it in as a necklace into part 2. I wrote it in that there's a necklace.
Yeah, but
And
it's
then I
easier
thought-
with the belt.
A necklace wouldn't make any sense because then if they're facing the other way, you wouldn't see it, really, would you?
No.
So then it became a belt.
Here we go, the original inhabitants.
Well, this is what I mean, and then I thought a belt didn't make any sense because how would how would the cacklers make a belt? They're like not exactly
Yeah.
very smart. So that's where these guys came from. I was like,
Is this voiced by you as well?
yeah, but with like a very generic, deep voice. These days, I wouldn't even have to.
You
Make
could have at least tried to make it a bit more like the Cackler's cackle sound, like
Oh, I know.
similar is.
I'm sure there's a lot that could have been.
This place
Done a
just
lot
doesn't
better.
stop. How did you cram all of this into?
There just isn't much tension. Like, this is what I mean. There's not much tension. The fact that we're
No,
coming back.
you
to-
never really feel like they're in danger.
Well, they're not at the moment. But at the same time,
Yeah.
there's that weird part of me that likes that because we've at least got 2 characters that are in danger. They're in a a dangerous.
Well, I
place.
say danger, I mean like stakes. Like
Yeah,
they
yeah.
should be like trying to urgently do it as quick as possible, but
I
he's
know.
just like taking his around a tour.
Yeah.
Vault containing some of the most dangerous
Well, it's a time machine,
in the
I guess.
Yeah, no, I suppose,
Which
I
is
suppose.
the exact same logic.
A time machine that is kind of faulty and doesn't really take him where he wants to go.
Yeah, true. But it's the same logic as Scorpius, which I thought worked in Scorpius. That whole thing of, well, we don't even have to rush anymore. At the climax,
Yeah.
and sorry, we've got a TARDIS. It's that whole thing of everything just suddenly becoming a lot easier and that actually being quite satisfying. Whereas here, I think it has the opposite effect. I do think it's everything easy.
I remember we filled this room full of references.
We did, yeah. And
There's
oh
the
my god!
Masters Wii U
I've
in
just
here.
remembered. Have you remembered what we did? The Wii U wasn't even in that one shot. It was gone.
No!
I've just remembered one of the things that I did here. I don't.
These things are truly dreadful. They disgust me.
Oh, this is so.
That anyone could even dream of inventing these
A
things.
power-boosted, open-ended Wii U.
There is. That's from the YouTube poop.
And then Ethan takes it right. And do you remember who's in the background when Ethan takes it? Look.
Oh, the
look,
master.
look.
There he
Yeah.
is.
That is
He's
the
just there.
that is the dumbest cameo. That is the dumbest cameo. in the whole-
That's great.
What was a little render
What is it?
Yeah.
hiccup right there.
Anti-grav stick. Sounds harmless, but trust me, all you do is point and click. The opponents in front of you go flying off into
So I think this was
Comedy
your-
writes itself.
I think this was your idea, the anti-grav stick, and it works. It's just the way it's all written and described.
no guns, no literal.
Guess what? Would you believe me if I said we haven't seen the last of the anti-grav stick?
Yes! That's epic.
That's all I'll say on that.
This is coming from the man that said, don't spoil anything for right? And he's going and admitting all of that.
It's a little thing, a little teaser.
The anti-grad sticks.
Music works nicely there.
It does. Good old Murray Gold.
I love how sometimes they just start talking and it takes like 3 seconds to actually hear the voice. I love that.
What do you mean?
But no, with the
Is this like a TARDIS sound that you've
It is,
you've
I-
used for the interior?
it's
like the hum.
it's a TARDIS sound from the TARDIS plug-in resource.
Yeah, no, that's what I was getting at. But
But in the actual
and then you've just
show,
taken the hum.
Yeah, but in the actual show, this sound effect was not a TARDIS hum. This was used in like the 60s in I think it was like Patrick Troughton's story as just like a bass hum. Rather
Oh really?
than-
And they just took that in for the plugin.
For the
Okay.
TARDIS plugin, yeah. But with the ending of the story, so I think originally it was the hill ending that you were talking about.
It was like it was literally they escape. The TARDIS lands and they scramble up the hill as a horde of cacklers try and kill them, and Harrison blows himself and them up to sacrifice himself.
We could have done some World War Z type stuff. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, Yeah, that was
That
well,
would have been
not
so
quite the,
cool.
the thing, but
And then, because you, in part 3, you introduced the Cackler cities, I said, oh, it should happen underground in one of the Cackler cities. And I think at this point I said it should be a rock. I said it could be a rockfall. I said that Harrison could blow up
Are you sure
a
this is
tunnel,
the
and all the tunnel traps, you know, it like all tumbles down,
yeah.
traps him on the other side.
Yeah, but if these guys are so smart to do that, they could absolutely figure a way out of that rock.
Yeah, I know. I guess it was just giving them time to escape, but
Yeah, I suppose so.
I one reason or another, once I'd introduced the Uticians, I thought, right, now we've got to go out with a bang. And I'm not saying any of this was the right call, because I still think that hill idea might have been the best way to end it.
I
but-
was fully going Predator / Jurassic Park. My original intention,
Yeah,
not that
yeah.
it's any better than this, is was simply go for like they have got to get off this planet as quickly as possible. That was just it.
Yeah.
This paradise planet is not a paradise planet. It is if it's pretty generic
And
actually.
I
if you think about
don't,
it,
I
but-
don't know if I was trying to deepen the subject matter, because like we were saying, Hunted is just a pure adventure. There isn't much theme to it, you know.
No.
And I don't know if I
And
was...
to be fair to myself, I never set out for one as well.
Exactly, and it doesn't even need to be. I'm glad it isn't in a way, but I don't know if I was trying to add another level to it with this whole a planet has been nuked and yet there are people
Yeah.
living under it pretending it
Oh,
hasn't been.
yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I was trying to. I don't think I was really trying to do that, but I think I was trying to at least give it a more of a villain. Do you know what I mean? More
Yeah.
of an evil face who can actually talk and
Oh,
think.
there it is. I remember building that. Do you remember that cape wasn't supposed to be there, but it was my like Optifine
Yeah.
cape, and it just stuck, and we're like, yeah, that works actually.
I seem to remember we couldn't turn it off. We couldn't turn
Yeah.
off the cape.
This. We're just soldiers, not engineers.
Which reminds me, like on Avery's skin there, there's like little red dots near the top to show that she's like the captain.
Oh, good thinking.
You can tell this was filmed in multiplayer. Did you see that just then?
Yeah,
This
I did.
That shot didn't even need to be done in multiplayer. I don't know. I don't
No.
know why it was.
more than just hide you from the human eye. They act as force fields from the radiation, but only for short
Oh,
periods.
just exposition after exposition.
They do not
This whole thing is just exposition after exposition.
slow and difficult. Sending cacklers in was an option.
I think it's like
These days, I hate
yeah.
just generic exposition. So if I were to rewrite this, I'd do it very, very differently.
Yeah, oh yeah.
And I suppose you probably would as well. If you're not going to make exposition interesting, don't bother.
Why is that's the thing? I was interested at the time by the whole.
No, like
this
yeah,
whole
so was I.
backstory that we were creating, like the lore. I was like, oh, this is so.
The lore is so much better than what we put on screen.
I know it's just not as interesting as the.
Sadly, they only caught two.
As the
Still, like,
thought process behind
they're
it.
still talking. They're still talking after we've been talking about all this.
I'd rather die.
Yeah, and to be fair, the I've forgotten that. I am so sorry. Is it Jason?
You think
The
they're still
Yeah,
here?
Avery.
Yeah, Jason's like putting his heart and soul into the voice acting. He's like the best one in this in these episodes, and like he's just got nothing to work with.
Who is this doctor?
He's just arguing against exposition.
Literally arguing against. Don't make me part of your exposition lore, please. I
Yeah,
wanna be a free human. I don't wanna. I quite like that. The way the doctor just fucking walks in.
yeah.
That was me going. Yeah, I need to speed things up. I need to.
How did you?
Oh, would you look at that?
I needed a bit more energy.
That is well,
That
Yeah.
very unoriginal.
From me. I
Seriously,
mean.
if you can invent
Yeah, no.
ability,
I was agreeing with you.
You know,
I didn't want to say it, but I was
you
agreeing.
needed a bit more
something better than that.
David Tennant.
You needed a bit more like Matt Smith energy.
Yeah, that kind of.
My dog extracted.
Ah! Which is funny because that's not how I'm doing the Doctor in the current story. I'm not really going for that kind of. I'm going for a more grounded sort of aged approach. Whereas for a story like this, you need that sort of bouncing energy.
Yeah, especially coming off of the droning exposition. The doctor comes in
Look
and
at that.
executes.
No, he didn't execute them. They're alive. They're alive. No, yeah, one of them wakes up, doesn't they, at the end? I think.
Oh, one got shot, one got knocked out.
All this I do quite like, even though it's a bit clunky in like the way it is. It's entertaining, I think. The way Ethan like jumps over K9 here, and that was what. Yeah, That was one of the jokes you suggested, and do you remember us
Yeah.
trying to figure out how to do it, like the knockback?
I think originally the joke was like he'd go into the roof or something, but it worked out a bit better just to knock them all back. And I remember I gave you like a knockback 1,000 stick
That's what I
or
mean.
something.
We were
did
trying to
that.
figure it out. I remember.
But every time we hit it, you'd like hit the wall instead of flying back. So you needed a particular like.
I've got this something.
You need to stand in a particular way in order to fly backwards instead of like sideways.
Then how does it? What the hell?
Good old Sonic
No,
Blaster.
this line here. Look. You ready? Wait, where is it? It is this bit, I'm sure.
Oh, how convenient.
That's bad.
That is actually you speaking through the talk. Like the story's nearly over. How convenient.
I nearly wrote. I wrote this. I was like I said, I was enjoying it, but I also really wanted to get the episode out. I was just and I felt like the script should have already existed, but it didn't. So I was just writing. I was trying to sort of, get it out in as quick as possible. I just more than I think I've ever done with this script.
Are you receiving me?
This was probably a first draft. Like I probably didn't even check this at all.
Captain, receiving you.
But I found it really fun. That whole approach to just making Hunted is so different from how we do it now.
Especially how you did Hide Her in the House. Like
And
the difference was noticeable, to say the least.
And here's the oh man, here's why I really just goofed up the ending of Hunted. Harrison doesn't even sacrifice himself, does he? Because they've already made it.
Yeah, they're already at the TARDIS, so this sacrifice kind of means nothing.
His sacrifice is
They
revenge.
could just leave. They could just leave. You turned my heroic sacrifice of
I'm
character
so
growth
annoyed at
into
myself.
revenge.
I
I didn't even notice that until now, but you have.
It might
Harrison was supposed to have a great character arc where he'd be nice to like Ethan for once, and then like, he's turned around a new leaf, and you turned it into revenge.
It could have been as simple as he has to draw away the cacklers. By suddenly doing this, they're all like, oh, reroute. We need to go stop him, sort of thing, and that allows them to get back to the TARDIS. That would make that. That would be a sacrifice. And also, but here's the worst part: Harrison had no idea this place existed. He didn't know that.
Yeah. So
there was supposed to be a bit when he saw it out a window, and I just don't think I added it in the end. I just don't think I. And look at this. We can't save him because the TARDIS is faulty. To be fair,
even though it managed to get in this tiny thing underground perfectly, it can't go in there. You could have at least made something about the radiation would fry it.
I did. There was a line about the radiation just then.
And you missed it. Oh, as it said?
No, it was said.
Oh, at least you've got that.
So he mentions the radiation, which is true, and in Scorpius the TARDIS was very faulty, but it's still just not good. Well, there you go.
You should have just let. Yeah, I mean, it's still kind of undercut by the fact he's just killing himself out of revenge.
Yeah.
Tell Rich as well.
I will.
But then I don't think David. I think David scoffed the line a little bit. We keep ragging on David. I feel kind of bad. He said something like these cracklers, and that was the thing with this story. Everyone kept saying cracklers, and I was having to remove the R from the lines and try and
rather just get people
cacklers. I don't know why it kept happening because it wasn't written that way in the script. It's just I don't know. People must have just assumed that they were called cracklers. But David did scoff the line a bit, and he said it a bit weirdly. I think he said something about he said Uticians as Whiticians or something like that. So I don't blame him because I didn't tell him how to say it, but he got the line completely
silent
wrong.
Y.
But he was meant to have a little tiny little speech about his how he there needed to be justice. They couldn't get away with it. Do you know what I mean?
At least that would have made it
more like interesting, yeah. A little bit more like justice-wise. Oh no, it's not it's different.
So they did both die.
Well,
K9 shot.
They were gonna die.
Shot.
They were gonna die anyway, man. Think of it that way. K9 didn't.
The explosion
murder
wasn't in the budget.
K9 is not a murder. I mean, yeah, I should have still done it. No, I considered doing a big TNT explosion, but I think
you could have just used. We could have used World Edit and just filled gaps and stuff with TNT. So
no, that's what I mean. I considered it, but I think I actually decided that that sort of cutting to black might be more effective. I don't know if it actually is, because normally when you do a big TNT explosion, you can see the TNT. Do you know what I mean? That sort of is blowing it up. You can see it kind of like fly out. I don't know. I think it was partly laziness, but I think I just decided to. I do like this scene though, and I remember Stephen, quite rightfully at the time, had some, constructive criticism about the episode, but he did say that he really liked the final scene. He said he liked this. I quite like it too. It's like
you kind of have to get the somber moments right in Doctor Who, otherwise it's. I always like this soundtrack from, what was it, season 6?
Yeah,
it was the one with the acid people.
Yeah, and I feel like it was also from an RTD episode.
And the Doctor's wife.
Okay,
Is that it?
where do you want to
God,
It's from both of those. It's a really good piece of music.
Mhm.
I'll try.
Well used.
That'll do.
Okey-doke.
What's gonna happen to you just now?
Well, from the data we found on their computer.
Off screen.
Yeah.
You kind of have to do that off screen. That would have been more exposition, to be fair.
That would have been just more boring. Just how lazy the ending was. It's brilliant.
It is quite entertaining. Well, apart from where it's frustrating.
It's entertaining, just like how we got away with laziness.
Yeah. Arguably got away with it.
Go anywhere.
I suppose.
So you just.
But I do genuinely quite like this. I feel like I paid a bit more attention to this in terms of making it good, like actually trying to make it good.
As opposed to what, Scorpius, you learnt your lessons. There's no bottom.
Okay, we're here.
No, I mean this scene, purely like this scene here.
Oh, right.
Like this episode, I was kind of just, rushing through it a bit. But I feel like this.
Okay, were you?
Yeah. I will.
It's not. I'm not saying it's amazing. I'm saying it's just
Yeah,
better.
no.
It's better than what was before.
You're welcome to come along if you want. People often try.
And I'm glad that we made Ethan a companion. Like honestly, I'm still.
Can?
Yeah.
I'm not. It means I have to keep using this shitty accent. Like at the time, I was like, "Yeah, that's a great idea," and then like now, I'm like, "Oh god."
I know. Every time you like. I've noticed in Hider in the House as well. In part 1, your Ethan voice, because you hadn't done it for a while. Your Ethan voice.
I hadn't done it for like
was
a
little bit
year.
off. Do you know what I've just realised?
Come back in a
Do you know what I've just realised? Look at the Doctor here.
with you and Kenai.
Do you know what he kind of looks like? He kind of looks like Philip Seymour Hoffman. And you know what? I based that
Yeah.
skin off myself. I think I look like Philip Seymour Hoffman. I think that's my my celebrity lookalike. I think
Fair enough.
I am literally him. I am literally Philip Seymour.
You are literally him.
That would make you.
Well, I mean, Avery's jumped out the TARDIS as well, and so's he.
What is?
Like,
Anyways,
like you've got to be fully like stinky. Like maybe using some deodorant or having a good shower. Like, maybe tens of cans of deodorant. That was so forced.
We had a challenge to say some things in the
I actually
commentary.
completely
I
forgot.
forgot.
About it.
I totally
actually
forgot.
So did I.
I had to say about celebrity lookalike, and Henry had to say about 10 cans of deodorant. Do you know what I thought you were going to say it? Is when they were doing the
Where was
weapons
it?
in the weapon vault. I thought you were going to say, you know what they should use? They should use 10 cans of deodorant right now to try and break into that place. And I was going to act like, what the fuck? What are you on about?